My name is Mark, and I had the privilege of growing up and living overseas. My dad worked for the U.S. State Department, and his job took him all over the world to different posts all over the world, and we would go and travel with him wherever he worked. We would go with him. So just like you guys live in a house here in the United States, we would go find houses in these different countries and we would live there. It would be our house, our home. I was lucky enough to live in Warsaw, Poland, Toronto, Canada, Amman, Jordan, and Munich, Germany. So today I would like to give you a little insight on what it was like to be a kid growing up in a place like Amman, Jordan. So we lived in Jordan when I was in the 5th and 6th grade. It was definitely a different place than anywhere I've ever lived. My dad referred to it as living on another planet, if you can imagine that. And hopefully with all the different pictures and videos I'm able to show you during this presentation today, that you'll see just how different it is compared to anything that you've ever seen. I'm going to start you out with a little story about when we first arrived in Amman, Jordan. It was in the middle of the night, 12 o'clock in the morning. We'd been traveling for 36 hours, and we got to our apartment. We finally got settled in, went to bed, probably 1 or 1:30 in the morning. And we were woken up at 5 o'clock in the morning from a local mosque prayer. So what they do 5 times a day, they have these prayers that they broadcast over these mosques' loudspeakers. And it is so loud. We were 1 block away from this mosque, and it sounded like whoever it was inside of our apartment. So we all stumble out into the hallway, and we're all looking at each other like, what in the world is happening? So eventually we got used to it, and it became kind of the normal. I was a kid and I would be in the bathtub and I would sing along to him because I got pretty good at it. I don't know what he was saying, but I could mimic him pretty well. Anyway, I was looking around on YouTube and I found a video of kind of what that was like, and I want to share that with you right now. Picture that, but 5 times a day and a lot louder. So it was definitely an interesting experience. So one of the biggest draws that Jordan has is its historic landmarks. So you've got Petra, you've got Jerash, you've got Mount Nebo, Aqaba, and you've got the Dead Sea, just to name a few. My family would drive to them on the weekends. They really weren't that far away from our apartment. Petra is a 2,000-year-old Nabatean city carved out of red rose rock. It was a large, thriving city when captured by Romans in 106 AD. One of Jordan's most visited tourist attractions was about a 3-hour drive from our apartment. We got a hotel right on the edge of the ruins and spent the day checking out the sights. Access to the city is through a 3/4-mile gorge called the Sick, which leads directly to the Treasury, famous for its rock-cut architecture and water conduit system. Petra is also called the Red Rose City because of the color of the stone from which it is carved. In 2007, the treasury was voted one of the new 7 wonders of the world. Petra is a symbol of Jordan, as well as Jordan's most visited tourist attraction. Tourist numbers to Petra peaked at 1.1 million in 2019. The stone city of Petra has been featured in some movies that you may have seen. The most popular for me was the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, when the entire ending of the movie took place inside the treasury structure. Quite an amazing sight to see. The Dead Sea was about an hour's drive away from our apartment. The Dead Sea is a salt lake bordered by Jordan to the east and Israel to the west bank. It lies in the Jordan Rift Valley, and its main tributary is the Jordan River. The lake's surface is 1,412 feet below sea level, making its shores the lowest land-based elevation on Earth. It is 997 feet deep. It is one of the world's saltiest bodies of water, 9.6 times as salty as the ocean, and has a density of 1.24 kilograms, which makes swimming similar to floating. While we were in Jordan, my class took a trip to the Dead Sea, and I got to swim in the Dead Sea. And I'd have to tell you, it's an experience that I'll never forget. It is one of probably the top 5 experiences that I have experienced in my life, swimming in the Dead Sea. The way the water feels, because it's so dense with salt, and how it pushes you right up to the surface is, well, as you can tell, it's hard to explain, but it is definitely one of my favorite memories of living in Jordan. Jerash was only about a 45-minute drive from our place in Amman. The earliest evidence of settlement in Jerash dates to around 7500 BC. Let's just say there's a lot of history in Jerash. I could give you facts and dates, but it will mostly lull you to sleep. But know this about Jerash. It is the world's largest Roman ruins and is the second most popular tourist attraction in Jordan, closely behind the ruins of Petra. When we lived there, we went there about 2 or 3 times. They had a gift shop that my mom liked a lot, and they had these souvenirs that were carved out of olive wood, a common wood in the area. Okay, so here's an interesting difference between America and Jordan. Now, you guys go to school Monday through Friday here in the United States. In Jordan, we went to school Sunday, that's right, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Our weekend was Friday, Saturday. Isn't that crazy? Friday in the Middle East or in the Muslim religion is a rest day. Some shops are closed. Sunday as the day of rest is a Christian invention. Thus, countries that are based in Christian societies base their work around people not working on Sunday. On the other hand, for Muslims, that day is Friday. It's really as simple as that. It's just that they are not Christians and they observe according to what they believe. So for that reason, we went to school on Sunday. It was a little strange for a while, but just like everything else, we got used to it eventually and became pretty normal to go to school on Sunday. The people of Jordan are Muslims, and they practice or follow the religion of Islam. The word Muslim derives from Arabic and means submitter to God. Muslims consider the Quran their holy book, so, like in the Christian religion, the equivalent of the Bible. They consider the Quran to be the verbatim word of God as revealed to the Islamic prophet and messenger Muhammad. The majority of Muslims also follow the teaching and practices of Muhammad as recorded in traditional accounts. The traditional language in Jordan is Arabic. One of the things my mom did was when we were there was she took, everywhere we lived, she took a lot of pictures and documented everything. So she has a ton of photos from when we were in Jordan. So what I want to do right now is I want to kind of just have you take a look at different structures, different buildings that they have there and just how different it feels there compared to here. So check out this gas station. Here's a few different mosques, different types of mosques. Apparently they had a Pizza Hut. I remember that. I never went though. They have way more of our American fast food restaurants now than they did back in the 80s. So here's what a mall looked like. This is the Intercontinental Hotel, a local department store. This is a typical grocery store. Apparently it's in the basement. This is a shawarma shop. Shawarma is a popular Levantine Arab dish consisting of meat cut into thin slices, stacked in a cone-like shape, and roasted on a slowly turning vertical rotisserie. This is a local watermelon vendor. This is some kind of local strip mall. I'm not sure. It was just interesting looking. And I'm really not sure if this is some kind of copyright infringement, but that looks a lot like Mickey Mouse. Here is the inside of our apartment. Pretty normal, a little different maybe. The floor in our entire apartment in Jordan was marble. Here in America, marble is very expensive, but it is a very common rock in the Middle East. So going back to my mom taking a lot of photos, one thing she did do was she documented across the street from our apartment, they built from the ground up a new building, and I want to share that with you right now. This was a previously empty lot inhabited by a herd of goats. Construction took 8 months from October to June. Foundation is paced off by foot and drawn by hands full of white sand, marked with sticks and barrels. Basement was dug. Workmen live in a small shelter that is on the grounds of the construction. No heat, no water, or electricity through the entire winter. Outside behind the pile of dirt to the right of center, they do all bathing and wash dishes with garden hose and build a fire to cook. Foundation poured section by section using only a small cement mixer. First floor cement is poured. Walls start to go up. Wood frames for cement is used over and over. Main floor rooms start to take form. Top floor poured. At this point, they bless the house by sacrificing a lamb on the roof. The new owners share the meat with the workers. Outside, brickwork is applied. House ready for inside finishing. 2 large families occupy the house when it's all completed. This house is considered to be an expensive home in an exclusive neighborhood in Amman, Jordan. So whatever you do when you're in Amman or in Jordan or in the Middle East anywhere, don't drink the water. So here in America, all our water that comes from our tap, from our sinks, is all filtered. So we're able to drink it. It's not filtered there. We had to distill and boil all of our water, not only for drinking, but we had to wash all our vegetables, and we would keep a bottled water next to the sink in the bathroom so we could brush our teeth. When we moved back to the United States, it took me about, I was in my 30s before I felt comfortable drinking a glass of water from the sink. It really messed me up, so I don't have any trouble with it now. Well, maybe a little, sometimes. So here's something that was hard to get used to. No addresses on residential places. Not really sure how that works, but if you want to get mail, you need to get a P.O. box or get mail at your work. My mom would hail a taxi for my sister and I, and she would just point in the direction she wanted to go. I think they have advanced a bit since we were there, but I do hear that they still don't have addresses on residential places. But it was a challenge for us when we lived there. You already don't speak the language. Mix that with not being able to tell someone where you live. Jordan has a hot, dry climate, characterized by long, hot, dry summers and short, cool winters. The climate is influenced by Jordan's location, between the subtropical aridity of the Arabian desert areas and the subtropical humidity of the eastern Mediterranean area. So you think with temperatures in the 80s most of the time and most of the year and clear blue skies, do you think it would ever snow there? Well, when we were there, it snowed one time. We were at school and they closed the schools, panicked and sent us home. As you can see in the pictures, it didn't snow all that much, but for Amman, it was pretty bad. Well, that's all the different facts and things that I can think of from my point of view from when I was living there, and different pictures that I have to share. I did go onto YouTube and I found a video that was produced a few years ago that gives you even more in depth of what Jordan looks like now. So let's check that out.
The Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan is just a 3-hour flight from Dubai and a 200,000-year journey through the history of humankind. More than a country, Jordan is one of the world's epic stories. Our Paleolithic ancestors wandered north from Africa and made their homes in the cool canyons and caves of this sun-baked land. The smoke of Bedouin campfires has drifted into the Arabian Nights for over 9 millennia. Prophets wandered these mountains and deserts, receiving visions that shaped 3 of the world's great faiths. Greek, Roman, Crusader and Arab armies have thundered across these sandy plains, leaving their mark at thousands of archaeological sites and in every fiber of Jordan's cultural DNA. Today, Jordan is the calm heart of a sometimes restless region. Jordan's capital, Amman, was known by the ancient Greeks as Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, and that spirit of tolerance continues to this day. Overlooking downtown Amman from its highest hill is the Citadel, the city's ancient core. Standing tall over the citadel are the 2 remaining pillars of the Temple of Hercules, a Roman temple that in its day dwarfed many in ancient Rome. Beneath the pillars follow the shadows as they sweep across the citadel's many layers of history, from the Bronze Age to Byzantine times. At the citadel's base, take in the views from the 6,000-seat Roman theater and watch the day-to-day dramas of Amman unfold below. Journey deeper into Jordanian history and culture at Amman's museums and galleries. While much of the kingdom's story is rendered in stone, at the Royal Automobile Museum, Jordan's modern history gleams in shining chrome. Jordan's hospitality is legendary, and you'll find that welcoming spirit all over Amman. You will find it through the open doors of the Duke of Mukibar's residence, where the aromas of vintage books and faded furnishings will transport you back to the 1940s. It's in the hands of street vendors and cooks, for whom tradition and pride are the most essential ingredients of all. And you'll find it in the evening breeze, which invites the Ammani into the cool streets and souks, just as it has for centuries. After a day or two in Amman, follow the winds 30 miles north to the ancient Greco-Roman city of Enter the city's monumental gateway and imagine the scarlet and gold spectacle which heralded the arrival of Emperor Hadrian in the 2nd century. Walk out upon the Hippodrome, where the roar of 15,000 Romans and the thunder of chariot wheels could be heard for miles. Rest in the shade of the South Gate, then make the short climb to the Temple of Zeus and look down upon this imperial city. Take a seat in the South Theatre, where even in the highest row, the soft strains of the Jordanian bagpipes are inescapable. Wander across the Oval Forum, where the city once gathered for monthly festivals, tedious decrees, and the gladiators' bloody dance. Follow the Cardo Maximus north, and you will soon understand that there are few things straighter than a Roman road. The stalls which once lined this half-mile colonnade may long be gone, but the daily operetta of commerce lingers amid the ruins of the central market. As the sun beats down, envy the Roman shoppers who once paused under the cooling mists of Gerash's fountains as they returned to home and family. Climb the steps to the Temple of Artemis, where priestesses danced as she-bears before the goddess of hunting and fertility. Artemis, the daughter of Zeus, was the protector of Jerash until the 4th century, when the Roman gods toppled before the teachings of a Jewish carpenter. Just a 30-minute drive to the northwest of Jerash, experience another great clash of faiths on the ramparts of Ajlun Castle. Built in the 12th century, Ajlun was one of a string of Arab castles raised by Saladin to halt the Crusader armies as they rode down Jordan's northern valley, hell-bent on Jerusalem. The Crusaders have long been vanquished, leaving these hills once more to the herders and their flocks, who graze amid the ruins of ancient cities like Pella. Just an hour's drive east from Amman, you will find even more stillness on the endless gravel plains of the eastern desert. Follow the desert castle loop to Qasr Karana, where Bedouin chieftains emerged from the shimmering horizons to settle tribal scores within the cool confines of its courtyard and 60 rooms. A few miles further is Qusayr Amra. The castle walls have long vanished, but its fabulous bathhouse remains. Step inside from the blinding desert glare to see frescoes from the courtly world of early Arabia materialize through the soft light. For many, the highlight of the eastern desert is Qasr al-Azraq. During the Great Arab Revolt of 1916 to 18, T.E. Lawrence made the castle his winter headquarters. Step into his bedroom, where the young British officer planned exploits which would be forever immortalized in books and in film. After exploring the eastern desert, travel southwest to Madaba, an ancient market town famed for its Byzantine mosaics. Most famous of all is the Madaba map, one of the first depictions of the Holy Lands, and a hallowed destination for pilgrims throughout the ages. Today, workshops all over Madaba ensure the mosaic tradition will endure for generations to come. Journey further south to explore the Crusader castles of the King's Highway, an ancient trading route which took Arabs to Mecca and Israelites to the Promised Land. See the Promised Land for yourself from Mount Nebo, just 6 miles west from Madaba. Stand at the place where Moses first looked out across the Dead Sea to the land of milk and honey, Israel. After taking in the mosaics at the Moses Memorial Church, follow the hairpin road down to the Dead Sea, the lowest point on earth. Float upon the saline waters and cover yourself in the same healing mud that once lured King Herod, the Queen of Sheba, and Cleopatra to these shores. Emerge from the waters renewed, then relax at your resort and watch the lights of Jerusalem and Bethlehem light up on the West Bank. Follow the Dead Sea Highway south to Wadi Mujib, the Grand Canyon of Jordan. Take one of the many hikes into the lush gorge and bathe in the cool breath of this harsh yet forgiving land. At the Dead Sea's southern end, visit the cave Lot and his daughters called home after fire and brimstone scorched the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah from the face of the earth. One city which vanished from the outside world for centuries, only to be rediscovered in 1812, is the Nabatean city of Petra. Enter Petra through the Sikh, a narrow rift through earth and time, where the modern world is left further behind with each twist and turn. Emerge from the shadows of this sacred way into the sunlight of Wadi Musa and gaze up at the treasury. Thanks to movies like Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade, the world is now familiar with the treasury's grandeur, but nothing can prepare you for the real thing. Chiseled from the pink sandstone cliffs, the treasury is the greatest of all Petra's 500 tombs. But your adventure is just beginning. From here, the canyon opens out into the Strait of Facades, the vast Nabatean theater, and the royal tombs. Petra's treasures deserve at least a half day, but to really feel the magic of this 100 square mile labyrinth of temples, tombs and caves, stay longer, for those who linger in the Rose City are rewarded by the new moods and colors that each hour brings. From Petra, follow the desert highway south for 70 miles to Wadi Rum, the Valley of the Moon. Bathe your spirit in the smoke of a desert campfire, and at dawn, rise to a place beyond words. From epic landscapes to the monumental ruins of empires, Jordan is a humble reminder that our time on earth is only fleeting. Yet Jordan shows us that sometimes we can reach out and touch the eternal and be at one with something far greater than ourselves. The story of Jordan is the story of us all.
Well, I hope that was insightful. Overall, it was an interesting experience. If I had to go back now and live there again, I don't know if I could do it. I was a kid and I was willing to go along with just about anything because my family was there. So as far as a place to go and visit, I highly recommend it, but living there was challenging. So thank you very much for listening. I hope that you enjoyed my presentation, and we'll see you later.